Funky old house, Dr. Vannacutt and his ghostly crew will make you pay severely with your life in the house on Haunted Hill. If you can survive the night, you will get $1 million prize, but not everyone will survive in the house on Haunted Hill, which was directed by William Malone, who directed Fear.com. So at least this was decidedly better than Fear.com, but then again, I've shat things out that were better than Fear.com. He also directed Scared to Death. This was written by Rob White and Dick Beebe. Dick Beebe is a hilarious name, but I promise you all, the first time I heard it, I reacted to it with the good taste and maturity you've all come to expect from me. This is a remake of the cult classic starring Vincent Price from 1959 about ghosts, ghouls, and goblins and a whole bunch of scary shit where people, if they stayed in a house, overnight, a house that was locked up tight like a frickin' vault, then they would get $10,000. Well, since it's 40 years later, they decided to update it to $1 million. And Jeffrey Rush is in this, hamming it up like, my God, he was hamming it up so goddamn much. You would have thought Hugo from Devil's Doll would have wanted some of him to be offered to him. Pronouns, pal, goddammit, ha ha. But anyway, Jeffrey Rush was Stephen H. Price. Do you get it? Do you fucking get it? Yes, he is an amusement park owner that likes to scare people. He's also married to Evelyn, Famke Janssen, who, goddamn, she looks the same here as she does now. I mean, honestly, 20 plus years have passed. She looks fucking incredible. She was great as the woman that basically married Price for money. And it's very much a marriage of, well, she's young and he's got a lot of money. Can we make it any more obvious that we're rehashing all of this crazy shit with a lot of more blood and tits? Oh my. So that's enough of butchering all those songs for now. And Taye Diggs was in this. Remember when Taye Diggs seemed like he was on the ascent as far as an actor? Whatever happened to Taye Diggs? He seemed like he was doing pretty well in Hollywood. Also, Peter Gallagher was in this. No, not the one that makes you feel the sledgehammer even when you call his name. He plays Blackburn. We have Pritchett, played by Chris Kattan. Chris Kattan, yes, of Night Roxbury fame, this was pretty much one of the only serious roles he had. At least one of the only serious roles I remember. If you know any other movies Chris Kattan has done where he's actually acted and actually done stuff like this, please let me know in the comments. And also, Sarah was played by Ali Larter, who, much like Famke Janssen, looks incredible. God damn it, Ali Larter hasn't aged at all either, and she's about 5 years older than me and looks about the same as she did in Final Destination 2. Or even Final Destination 1. Bridget Wilson Sampras was also in this. She apparently left Hollywood to spend more time with her family, and she actually wasn't that bad. So, but good for her on, wanting to be with her family. So this, pretty much you have a bunch of people in an old insane asylum, headed by Dr. Vannacutt, who, well, after a series of experiments and craziness and everything, as we see in documentary footage for Peter Graves' biography. Biography, yay! Oh, I thought it was Dale. Oh, product placement. Now I'm going to buy NBC. If any of you guys get those references, I love you guys. Peter Graves, footage of his biography series, talking about Dr. Vannacutt, and all the torturous methods, the fact that he killed so many mental patients in this asylum that burned to a goddamn crisp in 1931. Well, it didn't exactly burn to a crisp. People were just trapped in, this hospital, and we're all killed. If we burn, you burn with us. Except that was the Hunger Games, and that was kind of a good reason. This doctor was insane, and there were only 5 people that survived. And there are 5 people being invited to this party. Gee, I wonder what the relation could possibly be. So, this is from Dark Castle Entertainment and Warner Brothers. Dark Castle Entertainment was kind of the precursor to Blumhouse, Blumhouse, whatever, that they've done better as far as like spending money and everything because they've somehow become wildly successful despite the fact they're Blumhouse. Now, with Dark Castle Entertainment, they also did Ghost Ship and a few other movies. I don't think they're still in operation. If they are, I would be very surprised. They rose up to prominence with movies like this, and then fell off quickly with movies like Ghost Ship and a few others. Mainly because Ghost Ship, which I may retro review at some point, was basically just an intro. It was a great intro, great 10-minute opening sequence, and that was it. Then it fell off. We did get to see Juliana Margulies, crawl around places. That was really about it. So, and in the fact, in the vein of like the original, except with the pumped up $1 million, $10,000, we get all these people that come to this insane asylum. Though first, we see how devious Price can be with his amusement parks, taking Lisa Loeb, yes, the one that did Stay, and Spike from Buffy, who is her cameraman, took him up on an elevator, and then the crowded elevator went slow and went low, and like that song that I think was from Incubus. And they crash, and oh no, they didn't crash. It was all part of the ride because Price is a devious son of a bitch. And then Evelyn wants to have a party. She says, invite all these people. So he types all this stuff up. And then suddenly the list gets erased. And what happens? How in the world did this other list with all these people get made? Ghost magic. When in doubt, ghost magic. How did all these people, get back there despite having no relation? Ghost magic. How is Peter Gallagher able to hide the fact that he was obviously one of the villains? Ghost magic. And wait, how the hell did we run out of special effects? Ghost magic. That's pretty much it. This movie is by no means good. In fact, I would argue this movie kind of sucks, but it's also rather entertaining. It's one of the better remakes, though, because at least it, embraces the fun factor. Now, it does go a little bit overboard with the darkness. In fact, it gets so dark at some points where I'm like, God, you're having to almost go through this kind of like you're in the Fog remake, dear God. That was brutal to review. This is just where it's okay, you're having to squint, and it's not like in Hereditary or other movies where they use dark to add to the atmosphere. Nope, they just decide to make everything dark because they don't really have much of a budget. And also, it's directed from the guy that directed Fear.com. Whew. That movie is brutal. So, as everybody gets invited, we have all this. Pritchett stops them, and Chris Kattan's like, well, I gotta take you up here. We can't drive to the goddamn place because it's in this cliff and it's this towering, not Inferno, it's not Dante's Inferno, it's not Divine nor a comedy, even though I was laughing quite a bit. He takes him up there and, well, it's a goofy setup. Now, some of the house looks like it's still, pretty well kept, and then other parts, oh no, it's all desolate and cobwebby, and there's this weird sealed up portion where I wonder what's hiding back there. Let's see, the hospital burned down. Vannicut was clearly insane. We have all these ghostly things going on. Maybe there's something back there. Well, it's not the way out. Oh, it's not the way out. Well, it's the way out for the darkness because there's all this evil hiding behind this weird little wall that you could have poked with your finger. You could have fingered the wall, which I've been known to do, or what? Don't ask. Always delete your search history, by the way. You just finger the wall violently or even a little bit, and the violent fingering will unleash the evil, as it's known to do. So Pritchett basically says, hey, I want to get paid. Okay, it's going to be $1 million to everybody. He's not going to get the $1 million because he wants to leave. Then the house gets locked down. Because of course it fucking does. Some parts of this hit the right notes as far as being a remake. Others, they just kind of gloss over the whole damn thing. He's panicked to say the least. The house is alive. We're all going to die. Well, okay, which one is it? Who's alive? Who's dead? Is it real? Is it Memorex? So the switch is in the basement, or maybe it's not in the basement. We have to find the mechanism. Even though it was obvious that the thing wasn't in the basement, they didn't want to think of looking up in the attic. They didn't want to think of looking anywhere else. Let's just go to the creepy basement because we need a plot device and also ghost magic. So it's like a maze down there. They have little guns and tiny coffins. These were prototypes for Al Pacino. This is a great coffin. Oh yeah, a lot of room. RiffTrax, House on Haunted Hill, which I can't watch the original House on Haunted Hill now without getting the RiffTrax jokes in my head. I will say that, one thing about this movie is they get more women in the cast, or they get a lot of pretty women in the cast. They get 3 pretty women specifically. They do also get some footage of various nurses and other people getting their clothes torn off. So we get to see tits. 1930 tits for no reason. Why the hell not? Sarah and Eddie form a bit of a bond while everybody else is just looking around. Melissa, Bridget Bridget's character, Bridget Jones Sampras. There we go. So she is filming for a reality show, possibly. It's not like Halloween Resurrection, thank fuck, but she's filming this stuff. So Eddie is suddenly possessed or not possessed. Sarah sees him dive into a vat of, coagulated blood. She tries to dig through him. He's like, what? Dig for him. What the hell are you doing? Then she almost gets pulled in there. Oh, no! Kind of like the whole thing with, with Lance, and in the original where they try to do this stuff and they basically, see this old lady skating out on, it's like skating out on rollerblades, even though it was 1959. I don't think they had rollerblades back then, but it was hilarious. Wait till, or it's like, well, wait till the darkness is let out. Well, then we're all fucked, says Pritchett. Melissa's camera can see ghosts, and then the ghosts see her. And then the ghosts decide to drag her, beat her up, and drag her and her bloody corpse up into the house. Why? Ghost magic. So anyway, she walks on the ceiling like Lionel Richie. Lionel Richie making a cameo in this would have been funny. And what goes $1 million if you're dead? I mean, that is fair. It's true, unless you're able to sign this over to your loved ones. Doctor, give me the news. We've got a bad case of stabbing you. The doctor, like, somehow manages to escape. Somehow these ghosts just conveniently start wandering around. This also is very much in the vein of 13 Ghosts a couple years later, where you get slow-mo and you get all that stuff and everything. Ow. You get the ghosts acting weird. And it's plain and simple, good old-fashioned homicide. Why is that? Because Evelyn suffers electroshock. Boy, that K-pop song's in my head. And what the hell's going on? Price still loves his wife, but wanted to be the one to kill her. Well, the doctor, Blackburn, Gallagher, is checking on her. She's dead. Well, they end up having a bit of a gunfight at the electric shock corral, and they lock Price in this weird chamber. This chamber that's supposed to fix schizophrenia, but it drives a sane man mad and a madman sane. Like, oh, what a thrill. Goodness gracious, great price of fire. Okay, terrible rendition. Blackburn tosses him in there and says, I can't hear you. He turns the thing on. We get what looks like a Vincent Price cutout. Subtle as a brick to the goddamn head. And then he puts goggles on and hangs there so he can avoid looking and everything and do this stuff. They just decided to throw set pieces at us at this point. He then sees a bunch of weird ghostly stuff and naked people. I mean, there are worse things to hallucinate. You've been sick, Mr. Price, the doctor says, and the weird claymation, clayed up nurse. I don't really understand what the fuck that makeup job was about. Sarah and Eddie, they find a list of the people that, survived the hospital. They find a list of the staff, and then suddenly the 5 people, my God, we're all related to them. Gee, what? How the hell nobody knows this? How'd that happen? How'd it get to the computer? Again, ghost magic. So Price didn't make the list. The house did. Why? Because it wants to finish off all the stuff, because the house wants to get everybody back there that's related to continue killing? Maybe? How did the house do this? How did it get through phone lines? It didn't look like any phone lines went up there. How did all this happen? Ghost magic. So Blackburn and Evelyn were in on it. But then she says, well, nobody's panicked enough. We need another body. So she stabs him. At least they tied up that plot device, that whole loose end thing. And then Blackburn, his head was found in the chamber, and this is not the chamber of love. Tonight we die. And Price is all panicked because he's like, help me, but help me, Spock, help me. Sarah ends up shooting him and loading the whole clip in him. Obviously, he's wearing a bulletproof vest. If anybody's seen any of the goddamn movies and seen a movie or been outside for more than 5 minutes in your life. And Evelyn talks to Price. I loved your money, but I don't love you. And the mere sight of you is like, oh, thanks for that, honey. And he's like, even though he knew this, you could have just let me in on it and everything, and it would have been perfectly fine. But I taped all your stuff and whatever, and we're battling. And then they battle, and then he throws her through that, wall that you, again, could have fingered, and she is being, suddenly, she's noticing the darkness, this weird little beaded thing. It's absolutely ridiculous, like it was crawling on the ground. And it does that, and takes her all of a sudden. Kind of reminds me of an R.L. Stine book that he made later in his writing career. And I know he's still making books, but it was this weird thing with this group of kids headed by this, led by this teacher down in the catacombs. They break the wall, and apparently a teacher had something to do with it because he, even though he knew that, these people were trapped down here, these spirits were trapped down here, he decided to go down there for whatever reason. I don't remember the name of the book. I badly described the plot. If anybody remembers that book, please let me know. But then the darkness gets let out. This is where the special effects budget totally ran the fuck out. Because it looked like an ink blot come to life. These special effects wouldn't even pass for 1984. And I'm not talking about, I'm not talking about Last Starfighter. I'm not talking about any movies like that. No, this would have not passed for anything even adequate in 1984. Because they just gave up at this point. The darkness looks bad, really, really bad. Pritchett gets taken, and Price is telling him, "No, run!" And they go to the attic, and He manages to get the window open and everything because the locking mechanism's up there. How convenient. And the darkness ends up taking Price because he pushes Sarah out of the way. Sarah and Eddie are the only ones left. And what happens is Sarah manages to get out. Eddie gets trapped. Pritchett, his ghost, is not consumed by the darkness enough so he can let him out. And then they get out. They're on the goddamn, ledge, seemingly with enough room to sit down, maybe even lay down. But if they fall asleep and roll over in their sleep, they'll fall over. And they got the $5 million in checks right there, signed out to them in cash. Actually, they could just go cash them out anywhere, despite the fact they had burn marks and likely ghost entrails on them. And she said, "Here's a question: how the hell do we get down?" We don't know. By the way, they did return to House on Haunted Hill in 2016. It was so well received, I forgot that it even existed until I searched up for this on Amazon Prime. And then we see a finishing video of the ghosts torturing Price and Evelyn in black and white. Why? Why the fuck not? Was the movie bad? No. Was it great? No. Was it fun? Yes. Was it, exactly well made? I mean, it was better again than Fear.com, so you gotta take what you can get. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.